Hey all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Jonathan.
Hey, y'all.
Had a bit of a delay there, John. Okay, so today we're going to be going over Chris Pine joining Dungeons and Dragons. We have some Among Us news, joining some new consoles. We have Overwatch's Winter Wonderland that I'm excited for. Riot's got some big news on a new game they're developing. We also have a little bit of a Mandalorian Season 2 review, and then we're going to be talking about um, basically your favorite childhood gifts from either Christmas or Hanukkah, and so yeah, it's really cool stuff. We had the Twitter people jump in on this, so we're gonna be reading off the Twitter responses to that too. So it'll be really cool. Uh, First off, Jonathan, what have you been playing? What have you been watching?
So lately I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origin, which is pretty
Hmm.
awesome. I definitely want to play other Assassin's Creed games after this. And I didn't realize what a big game it is. It's a pretty large map, so it takes a lot to get through, but I like it. I only play, like most games, I get into like an hour at a time or so. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Lately I've been watching Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Such a good new season. And trying to get caught up with Mandalorian. I still think I'm an episode behind, but either way, we'll still
Okay.
do
I'll
the
try not to
review of the
spoil
last
anything
season.
then. I don't want to. I don't want to
Uh,
spoil it for people who
but
haven't seen it yet. Because I mean,
it's
we were
okay.
on Discord. You know, everybody. You guys are welcome to join our Discord. By the way, it's a place where we could talk about geek stuff all the time. But I'm the only person who's like up to date and ready to like so let's talk about all the big spoilers. And everybody's like, hold on, I got two more to go. Like, what are you guys doing? Do you not wake up Friday morning and turn it on right away? I don't understand. Yeah. Yeah, I've been playing. We have Shadowlands. I've been playing a lot of.
Holy.
And we did another D&D stream last night, which really went well. That that's one of the like because we'll at the next week we're gonna be talking about like the best of 2020, which I know is gonna be a short list, and then what we're looking forward to 2021. We're also gonna be talking about whatever some of our things we appreciate about 2020. Trying to put a positive spin on the year as a whole. One of them is that we finally started D&D, something I've always wanted to try, and that's been really going good. And so we had another session last night. You guys can watch that stream. It's also in the archives. Um, Watching wise, catching up on Orange is the New Black. I've been trying to finish that. I'm trying to finish up my Netflix list, kind of empty that a little bit. And Star Trek Voyager, rewatching Voyagers, which is always good. All right, this episode is sponsored by the Geek Freaks shop. You guys could head to our shop and buy shirts, hats, the masks, guys. Until you guys get your vaccines, you should be wearing your masks. The masks we always sell at cost, so we actually don't make any money on those, but we do really suggest you guys buy masks. Everything that's there. We noticed that we are selling shirts. You know, people are buying shirts and stuff like that for the Christmas season, which is fantastic. Make sure you guys post us on the social media so we could like celebrate with you that you guys got your new shirt or that you bought a new shirt for yourself. Be really good. We are going to be doing a New Year's giveaway. We're giving away 3 Geek Freak shirts. Check out our Twitter. We're going to be putting up a post about that. And then if you guys retweet it or like it, retweet and like it, you're entered in, and then you can get a free Geek Freak shirt. It'll be pretty great. That'll be our New Year's contest. But yeah. All right. Let's head into the news. Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, Pine is joining the Dungeons and Dragons movies. This thing's been in development for a long time. Jonathan, how are you familiar with that Dungeons and Dragons world?
I'm really not, just from a
Yeah.
little bit in TV and movies, but I've never
Yeah,
tried to
it's
play it at
tricky
all.
because it's kind of one of those things where I mean it's up to the user, right? Yes, there are like set books and adventures you can follow. I mean it's rare that anybody actually does. You're actually much more likely to get into a thing where your dungeon master invented the entire world. And there are Star Trek D&Ds, there are Star Wars D&Ds alongside dragons and stuff like that. I have a feeling they'll probably stick with some of the classic old adventure books for this movie. But Chris Pine's a great actor. Of course, he played Kirk in the movies, and then he's in Wonder Woman right now. How do you think he is as an actor? Do you think he'll do good in like a fantasy type role?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done good in the past with. I mean, I like him in Star Trek, and I think he's the kind of actor that plays himself really well. So as long as the character's made well to match him, I
Yeah.
think is a good fit. He's not. I don't think he's like a Tom Hanks where he can disappear into a character. But yeah, I think he's a good actor overall. As long as it's a good fit, the directors and producers wouldn't cast him if it wasn't a good fit. I'm sure he's not
Yeah.
cheap. So
I think he's going to do really well. We'll have to see how it goes. Speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, of course, it kind of rose to popularity with Stranger Things because it was based off of D&D. And if you guys check out on the Stranger Things YouTube channel, they just put it up. They got the cast together, all the kids together with Hopper, and I don't know who the dungeon master is. I think it's one of the directors. They're playing a D&D match together, and their campaign is trying to save Christmas. So check that out, guys. It's got the kids in there. It's really cute. Um, and then of course, we got Stranger Things season 4 coming up next year with Hopper and Russia and stuff like that. That'll be really neat. So that's on our YouTube channel. All right, next up we have Among Us. John, are you still playing Among Us with the nieces?
Yeah, from time to time.
Yeah.
Not hardcore, but
Yeah,
I do
it's of
play
course
sometimes.
still rising in popularity, and it's gotten onto the consoles now. It first came onto the Switch. That's available now, so you guys can play on the Nintendo Switch, which I think is a really good place for it. It really is mobile friendly. We just talked about last week how there's a new map coming to it, the airship map. That's really cool. And then we also see here that it's coming to Xbox. It's on the Game Pass, so you guys will get it free with the Game Pass. It's already available on Game Pass for PC. It'll be available on the Xbox Series X and Xbox One next year, so you can get your Among Us on. I wish I was better at that game. I mean, I'm so bad at it, and it's so irritating how simple it is.
It's hard, and it's funny because the girls get so like hyped up and excited, and like, oh my god, it's green! I totally saw the event or something
Yeah,
like that, and they're like screaming in their room, and it's like it's so exciting for them, which
right.
we can relate from a more engaging game that's exciting for us. So it's fun to see them really
I
like a
wish I
game
could like
nowadays.
just say like go play Minecraft instead. It's a better game. Like it's a better, supported and made game.
I gotta tell you though, Animal Crossing. Melanie has been showing me. She's so excited to share with me her island and how she's decorated it and how she found this and she deals with these people and stuff like that. I'm like, this is just a simpler
Yeah.
version of Minecraft. Once you get bored with this and you're a little older and have more time to invest or whatever, you are gonna get lost in Minecraft. You're gonna love it. So
Yeah.
I've been encouraging her, like look
It would
forward
be
to
cool
that,
for her to play Minecraft,
someday.
and we get the server and stuff like that, so she could play um with the whole group and get into the dragon type of thing. Because there's Minecraft where you're trying it on your own, you don't really progress,
Yeah,
and then there's Minecraft where you're like, all right, we're gonna go kill the dragon, we're gonna actually find the three
with
skulls
friends.
and stuff like that. That's a lot of fun. And there's a new bad guy too coming up soon, so it'll be really cool.
Yeah. So someday I'll probably get my own server, and because I know she has a close friend that plays, so at least she can have
Mhm.
however she wants it to be on her server, and her
That's a good
friends
idea.
can
Yeah,
join and play
yeah.
together and stuff.
All right. Next up, we have the Overwatch Winter Wonderland event. I need to play this. I keep putting Overwatch off, and it's terrible. It's going on until January 5th. Uh, there's the new 4 vs 4. It's called Freeze Thaw Elimination, and the way it works is you're basically, I think you're throwing snowballs if I remember correctly. You're freezing people in place. It's like freeze tag. Your friends can come over and thaw you to free you out instead of you dying. You actually just freeze, so they can thaw you out, and then you're able to continue going. So it's really fun. It's kind of a lighthearted way to go. And then we have some really awesome skins. So we got Penguin May, Toybot Zenyatta, Lumberjack Torbjorn, Conductor Reinhardt, which is the one I want the Conductor Reinhardt, super bad. Ice Empress Mora, Moria. Anyways, I play her a lot. I don't have a name. So you guys can buy those through like the loot boxes and stuff like that, and unlock them if you have the currency. But the freebies, the ones you get for just having the 9 wins each week, Elf Junkrat, which one this comes out, I think that one's gonna be expired, but yeah. Gingerbread Anna, and then Frosty Roadhog. The Frosty Roadhog looks super good. So there's some really great skins this year. They really killed it. Are you gonna be playing any Overwatch, Jonathan?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't played it like you. Like I haven't played it in so long. But the Elf Junkrat, I like playing as Junkrat, so I gotta at least get in hopefully today and try to get that one.
Yeah, I need to play it too. Squeaks as well. Whenever me and Squeaks play together, we do pretty good because we have the healer tank thing going on. Maybe we'll get together a group and actually like dive into this and we'll stream it. I'm definitely down. It's just been too long, and then I don't like to miss the events because they're really fun and there's those unique skins and
Mhm.
the conductor Reinhardt. It looks so cool. It's like Polar Express, like he's got the whole train like armor pads and stuff like that. It looks really dope. So I definitely gotta check that out. All right, next up, this is probably the most exciting news for me this week. Riot is making a League of Legends MMO. This news comes from Ghostcrawler. His name's actually Greg Street, but everybody knows him as Ghostcrawler. Jonathan, I know you're not familiar with Ghostcrawler, right? Okay, so he's the guy that kind of used to be in charge of World of Warcraft back in the early days. So he has experience with MMOs, obviously.
Mhm.
He was brought on in 2013 as a lead game designer for Riot over League of Legends, and then we found out that he's been working on this MMO. And he put out a tweet and he says, "My recent job at Riot has been to help develop a League universe." This is one of those things that back when I played a lot of League of Legends, we always were talking about like, oh, it'd be so cool to see Demacia, actually see these places. You've played League of Legends in the past. Would you want to expand that world at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it has, I mean, obviously it has a huge fan base. People like it. I think the reason people like it so much is the platform and
Yeah.
the way the game is played. But I'm sure majority like us, majority of the people that like League of Legends also like World of Warcraft and MMOs. So just to take the characters from one world and pretty much plant them in another, an MMO is only going to be so different from others. So it's the way the game is played that's really being changed.
Yeah.
But I think it'll have a lot of following. I'm sure a lot of people will at least try it out, and if they put the effort into it, the money into it, the time into making it just right, then of course people are gonna love it.
Yeah. I think you're right there. We're gonna have a lot of people moving over. I remember that there was a lot of crossover in between the two. I mean, Blizzard basically copied League of Legends to make Heroes of the Storm, so there's definitely some crossplay there. Uh, and the important thing here is there's a lot of lore behind League of Legends that people don't, especially the newer players, don't know or remember. But back in the day, they used to release like a weekly, I think it was weekly, paper, like newspaper that was written by a character in the world that was kind of giving you the updated news on what's going on with Noxus and Demacia and their war and stuff like that. And it was so much content that, I mean, I remember very well, like me and Tabby would like, were excited when the new newspaper came out and we would read what was going on. And it really read really well, like articles and stuff like that of like, bombing in Demacian camp and whatever is really cool like that. And so they have a lot there. They can really make a lot out of it. I'm excited for that. Um, so can we get these multiple factions? I mean, that's the thing is I'm thinking of like two major factions, but there are actually like 16, 17 factions in the game. How do you do that? Are you going to make a horde and alliance? What are you going to do with the factions in this game?
I think that's even better than having a horde in the alliance,
Yeah.
a blue versus a red, or a Democrat Republican kind of thing. It doesn't have to be split down the middle. Have it like multiple countries on one continent. They're like you're playing
Yeah.
Risk. You're not playing checkers. So you have you can be a dark elf and you're not with the dwarves and you're not with the humans or whatever. There's so many different classes and I don't
Right,
know,
right, right.
different types of people that you don't have one side versus the other. It's very diverse.
And that's the other thing too is yeah, we're probably gonna have classes and roles. So you probably have some melee and ranged because of course in League it's like, oh, I'm a top, I'm mid, I'm carry, whatever, 80 carry. So we're probably gonna have something like a range where you'll have it has to be able to fit like your Ash character in there and stuff like that. So when I'm playing somebody in League of Legends, I can say like, oh yeah, this is a rogue. That's what Master Yi is. He's a rogue. Something like that. So it's gonna be weird to see how these worlds meld. An MMO is such
Yeah.
a different world than a MOBA. So it'll be weird to see how they're gonna do that. I'm excited for it. I trust Ghostcrawler. Greg Street has never done me wrong. So it'll be
Mhm.
exciting to see what they can do. I don't know. It's a big project.
And I wonder, will you be playing the same characters like you do in League, where you join and you're that person the way it was made
Yeah.
originally, or will you be editing your characters like you do in WoW, where it's a RPG? You're changing, the
That's a
character to
super
match
good
you.
point. So, of course, Riot's owned by Tencent, so that you expect this to be an Eastern MMO, but Greg Street's best known for his Western MMO work. So, will you get this, subscription based game where you have questing, you make your own character, and it's really based off of you, like you'd expect in a Western MMO, or will you have like a Genshin Impact, really great game, but you are playing like designated characters already created that just fit in the world? I actually kind of think it would be easier just to play as Master Yi or to play as, Bastion, not Bastion, but you know what I'm saying. Um, it would be easier for them to do. But I don't know. That opens up a whole new thing.
Mhm. And I think they see that in the way League of Legends was made, in that way where you play a pre-made character, it opens up the avenue for
Yeah.
like competitive gaming. Versus if you're building your own personal character, you have a very long story, a long developed personal
Yeah.
relationship with that character in that game. But it's a one-on-one relationship, not anybody can plug into that person and be that person for the time of the game. It's not everybody learning how to play baseball with the same bat and the same ball. It's everybody painting their
Yeah.
own masterpiece kind of thing. So I think that there's a huge difference between how the game might be made.
Yeah. We'll have to follow up on this. We're going to keep you guys updated as much as we can. Uh, Greg Street, he's always been really active on Twitter. So check out Ghostcrawler. Uh, he has like a little crab because that was kind of the gimmick back in the day. It's a crab as his logo. He works at he works at Riot, but he also does a lot of interviews about his days back at Blizzard. So it is really good to always follow these developers and see how the project is done. He's a good one to follow on Twitter, guys. All right, next up, let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077 and their many problems. We slammed them pretty good last week, talking about all the bugs. And I remember when we were about to put up the episode, I was like, man, people really like this game. They're not gonna like this review, but I mean, we're not gonna lie. It was a bad game. It is a bad game. Uh, just because you can't progress and your dick's always hanging out. So what are you gonna do? You know? And now I found, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. They still haven't fixed that bug. It's still there, anyways. And then of course Squeaks' big problem is that he doesn't have a dick on his character. He's like, I remember putting one on, I just don't know where it's at. So yeah, it's all kinds of crazy problems. Uh, so I was worried about this. These bigger companies were giving this thing like a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10, just crazy numbers. And then we gave it a C, a freaking C. And then sure enough, as people are playing and they're starting to experience these bugs, it becomes the norm of how bad this game is. And have you heard about all these different problems that this game's been having, John?
I haven't. Actually, what's funny is our other brother Miguel listens to every episode and was telling me about how funny it was hearing Squeaks, ranting about how his character didn't have a dick and all this stuff. But I haven't heard reviews about the game. I haven't tried it myself yet. So that was kind of the first I ever heard that there was so many bugs with it.
I didn't know Miguel listened to episodes. That's good. So many of problems. Finally, Cyberpunk had their apology they put out there. It's just a regular message of like, oh yeah, we're gonna come out with patches, yada yada yada. What do you feel about a company coming out and apologizing so late afterwards about these many problems?
Well, so first I appreciate the apology. They should. If a company comes out and makes a bad product, they should apologize to their diehard fans who were super pumped about it and saw all the promotional stuff and went out and spent the money. But at the same time, how did you not test this? Did you guys rush this to get it out before the holidays? It seems like you kind of do what you want and then try to rush it out and then just ask for forgiveness afterwards. If you were doing that knowingly, that you knew you're gonna put out an inferior game that people are gonna be upset about, that's an epic fail. That's bad PR, bad reputation for you guys. But if sometimes there's some things that are overlooked or whatever. I get that, but I mean, we have the gaming industry is huge now, and you put a ton of money into developing a game and testing a game. We've been beta testers on different games before. Like, there's a lot of bugs that you find and they get worked out, and then the final product is a whole lot better. So yeah, to release things like that are so blatant. Like if I get like an old Halo game, you find a certain spot where you can set off a grenade and you get locked inside the wall or whatever. That's different. It's more exploit. It's not something that's affecting the whole game, but if your whole game is defective in certain ways, then that was just poor planning, poor production, and just a fail on their end. So I think they should be offering a refund, a credit of some amount to everybody, and like free skin packs, free mod packs, or whatever other stuff they can add in to help sweeten the deal, because it's a pretty epic fail.
That's kind of become the common thing where people are always like, oh yeah, well, we're going to give you guys a free skin and stuff like that. Here's some extra in-game credit and stuff like that. This game in particular, so it took 7 years to develop this game. Okay. That's just, we've known about this game. They've announced it like 2013. I mean, it was so long ago. So it's pretty nuts. And then this year in particular, like, we understand you guys need to delay games, but they're delaying this game multiple times. And then they even implement crunch, which we've talked about in the past, to like get this game done. There were people who were working on the Saturdays and stuff like that and extra hours. And they still had to delay it again. So it's like, why did you implement crunch? Do you think they should have just delayed this game again instead of it coming out and having all these problems?
Yeah, I mean, if you have to delay it another year, delay it 2 years, people don't want an inferior game, and they don't want you to abuse your employees to get a good game out. So take the time. I get there's a relationship between investment and profit. So if we delay it another year, then hey, your $60 game's gonna have to be $72.50 or something like that. Hey, if the game is worth it, the game is worth it. If it's not, then you guys mismanaged from the beginning and did not plan your steps of development properly. So it's your fault, and you need to sell it to the $60 and only get the profit you get, or find other ways around that and market more your aftermarket skins and stuff like that. But Yeah, I think that's just mismanagement, poor planning.
One of the big problems with this game is it's just so ambitious. They were promising the world. They said, oh, it'll be this game that's all about elevation and stuff like that, and it was just too much. The game was too much for what what they promised and what they delivered. And then when they released it, they didn't plan on people playing on the original Xbox One and the PS4s. But that's so silly. Why are you going to make a game that's for the PS4 and expect everybody to have PS4 Pros or Xbox One and Xbox One S? They expected everybody to have the up to the date systems. That's just silly if you're going to release it on those systems. So I think CD Projekt Red, the developers behind this game, just botched it super bad, and so do PlayStation and Xbox now. Xbox has been issuing refunds. If you guys want a refund, they've extended the refund window now. You guys could just submit for a refund and get it back. PlayStation gone one step further. Not only are they offering refunds, but they actually removed it from the PlayStation Store. You cannot buy this game from PlayStation anymore until it's fixed. I have never seen this out of a AAA title. Do they set a precedent for their store? Now is this going to be something that people are expecting? What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I really like that concept. That makes so much more sense. If you have a convenience store, you're not going to sell products that you don't. Well, you might. Whatever. You should sell products that you have tested or agree are good for your customers. So, the Ubisoft store and Steam and all these other ones and PlayStation or Sony, they should be testing and rating and confirming that these games are good from their perspective before releasing them under their stores. I get that might hinder sales, but imagine if this game was tested beforehand and they went ahead and put it on the store, but they gave it like a 2 out of 5 stars. Everybody that looks at it's like, oh dang, why did Sony give it such a low rating? The other games that I really like, got 4 or 5 stars from Sony, but yet this one's really low. At least they go in with the expectations there might be some major, and there could be a note in there saying it's bug issues or things that need to be whatever the specific defects are. But yeah, they'd go in there with a low bar and then not be so disappointed.
So what you're saying is you want a company side review of the product, not necessarily a user review of the product, right?
I think there should be a review of the product from the companies that are selling it.
Right. Okay, I see. So Xbox has their review of it. That would be interesting. I wonder how that would affect the business side of things. Like, you're obviously going to sell the game. So it would be very tempting. That's the reason I think that you have users do it instead. It'd be very tempting to kind of review something higher so that more people buy it, so you make more money because they get, whatever, 40% of the profits. There's that. Yeah, that would be really tricky. That's a tough one.
I was going to say those companies doing the reviews will also be associating their credibility with it too. So, if you read the Xbox reviews on games and they're always pretty accurate, then you're going to trust them. But if if they're getting 5 stars on games that really suck, then you're like, I can't even trust Xbox games anymore. I'm just going to buy PlayStation games from now on.
And then, kind of do you think that they're going to have fans now demanding that they pull other games from the store? A good example is on Twitter after this happened. People were demanding that, we want a review. We want the same treatment for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It released, it had many bugs and stuff like that. They want the same treatment. Do you think that that's the way they have to go now that they've already pulled this trigger once?
That's kind of hard. Yeah, that does set a precedence for any game that people can say they're not satisfied with. So I think we'd have to find a trusted third party, not just the consumers and not the developers, but like I'm saying, the companies that are selling the games, or we had how do you say, like an industry, the subject matter experts in the industry. Like when you see movie reviews, it's not just us just tweeting what we think about it. There's people who are specifically do that for a living, review movies, and they know the art behind movie making. So if you had other people that are game experts, maybe even just the streamers themselves or something like that, people that are accredited, have them be the middleman that does that kind of check and balance for the new games, the developers.
That leads into what we were talking about last week. It's kind of a tricky situation because then you have a company like IGN, for example, who gets paid to review games, and their reviews we felt like are a little too favorable for the bigger titles, because is there money behind it? Do they pay for it? Does Cyberpunk pay for ad space on the website? Well, if you go to the website, you will see ads running for multiple games. Very possible. Matter of fact, our stream today, I noticed that the stream today for the podcast is sponsored by Cyberpunk and Mountain Dew. So you can see that intermingle of two companies. we're gonna is there an intermingle between companies that might be reviewing the game? And it's one of those things where it's like you almost want almost like a non-profit organization that will do reviews, kind of like how we have with the ESRB for us here in the US that sits there and does like, oh, it's an M rating or it's a whatever E for everyone. There should be something like that too, like uh E for everyone and B because glitches and where dicks come out and stuff like that, like something weird like that. Uh, we kind of need something that's non-biased to give us a legit review for the game. So, you guys, you can get your full review you can get your full refund from PlayStation and Xbox through our website. We actually put the links up so you guys can get your refunds if you want to. I've already refunded my PC version because I was like, I'm going to wait until this thing's all fixed. I don't want any problems. We have heard that there's a lot less bugs in the PC, but there are still bugs in the PC version. You guys get your money back from that if you want to. I think it's probably best. And then just wait for them to make the game better before you go and invest your money, or wait for it to be on sale and it's worth the bugs. That's the best way to go. Looking at the time here, we do actually have time for a quick Mandalorian review. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do this real quick. We'll go and do that Mandalorian music. I love that Mandalorian music. It's so like Western space. Jonathan, you said you're up to the second to last episode, right? Okay. So what's the last thing you saw happen?
Maybe second.
Is Boba Fett involved yet?
I can't remember. Yeah. So Boba Fett now got his armor at the end of the episode, and they went and got that guy that
Bill Burr,
I can't remember his name, bald guy that was with them previously, and they freed him to help them.
That episode's really good. Now, did you notice? Okay, so spoiler alert for the second to last episode of Mandalorian. Okay, for everybody, season 8 or season 2, episode 8, episode 7. Did you notice that so he takes the helmet off, right? Now, what's really interesting, and that somebody pointed this out to me, really good acting on Pedro Pascal's point. He sits there and he turns his head whenever he looks at somebody. He doesn't use peripheral vision ever, because normally he has his helmet on always. So he doesn't know how to turn his head like normally. And you can see in the same scene, Bill Burr does the side eye and he looks around peripheral vision wise. But Pedro Pascal, because he normally wears the helmet, even when he doesn't have the helmet on, he's always turning his head like this, where he's turning his whole body, his whole upper body, and then even when he looks down, he leans forward to look down. That was pretty smart on Pedro Pascal's part to think, how would Mandalorian do this?
Yeah. Well, he's probably gotten kind of used to that, the physical aspect of it
that's a good point,
the armor, in the acting of it. So it's probably easy to be like, hey, you guys don't see this, but I have to always be doing this whenever I'm doing something. You have to turn. So to convey that into
that's a good point. Yeah, it's probably something that he's always had to deal with. It reminds me of, and if you guys, it'll ruin Batman's for you, so I'm sorry about this, but Batman movies. So if you're looking at the first Christian Bale Batman and before, the cowl is connected to the shoulders. So Batman can't turn his head either. So watch the movies, especially the older ones, and you'll see him turn his entire body to look at Catwoman, and then turn his entire body back. And later on, when you guys remember, Lucius Fox sets him up with a new set, and he's like, "Oh, I need it to wear it'll protect me from dog bites." They actually separate the cowl and the helmet, but before then, they're connected, and he has to turn his entire shoulders and stuff like that. And I just thought that was a really good point, really good acting from Pedro's side. That's episode 7. Now on to episode 8 again. I'm gonna try not to spoil anything for anybody. But we did have a really good conclusion. We set up a lot of spin-offs out of this one. So we already knew that we were gonna have, Ahsoka's spin-off. We have Boba Fett's spin-off coming up, and they've set up what that'll look like now in this one. We got to see the conclusion of kind of this dark. Well, actually, it didn't really fully conclude. But we saw the Dark Blade stuff coming forward and stuff like that, which is all these Clone Wars things. Dave Filoni makes. He's one of the co-creators of Mandalorian, so you would expect Dave Filoni's work, and you see a lot of Clone Wars stuff in there, and Bad Batch in there too. It had an epic ending, and they actually used. How do I say this well? They used some de-aging at one point, and I think this is the best de-aging I've ever seen. Let me know, guys, on or let us know on Twitter and stuff like that. What do you guys thought about the de-aging used in Mandalorian recently? The best I think I've ever seen, and we've seen de-aging before in Star Wars, and it looks awful, right? You guys, you remember in Rogue One, Moff Gideon, and how they did Princess Leia. It's some bad CGI. Looks really good. Yeah. And then of course they had the very sad ending. Of course, everybody was talking about how much they were crying at the end of Mandalorian season 2. I have to give this thing a full-on A+. I do not hand those out lightly. The last A+ I gave was the premiere of Mandalorian. So I have to give this a full A+. It was fantastic. I mean, I remember like the up to the last like 15 minutes. I was like, this is a solid B. I'm fully entertained, really good. Oh, hey, we got these characters back. That's neat. We got some good story finishing. They did. Oh man, whoever directed this episode, I think it might have been Kevin Feige. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, directed this one. They did a really good job of like there's these like dark troopers they call them, like these robotic troopers, and they did like a lot of these shots were like zooming in on them and stuff like that, like dut, dut, like it was almost 80s overdoing how bad this threat will be, and I really liked how much it intensified the situation. And then so yeah, up until like the last 10 minutes, I'm like, this is a solid B, maybe B plus. The last 10 minutes, last 15 minutes, maybe jumped to an A plus real hard. They excellent. It was an excellent job. They did a great job. So let us know, guys, what you guys thought about Mandalorian season 2 finale. I mean, I of course loved it. And Jonathan, you got to let me know, man, when you watch it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm happy for
Oh,
all the Star Trek and Star Wars stuff that we have going on. We live in like I feel like the best
yeah,
generation of
yeah.
sci-fi
Well,
entertainment right now.
I mean,
So
I'm hard
pretty
pressed to
awesome.
think Mandalorian might be the best in Star Wars. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the new generation of Disney owning Star Wars. They've popped out some pretty good movies, and now this is where they're going. So I hope they
Yeah,
just keep turning over rocks and finding new
yeah.
avenues
I
to make
think this.
amazing content
I'm just
like
saying,
this.
like, I mean, I think this beats the new trilogy. It probably beats the prequel, and I think it competes with the original pretty well. I mean, it's just yeah, to me, it's hitting every corner. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think it is better than
Yeah,
all of Star Wars we've had previously, pretty much. But it
it
is
is.
also hard to compare a series versus movies. But it's yeah. I just hope
Yeah,
they don't stop with this one. Like, hey, we nailed it. This was good. All right. But yeah, keep finding, even just creating from scratch. You don't have to take somebody who's been in one of the movies in the past to make a spinoff. Let's create some new characters and new worlds and stuff like that, and
that's
have some
one thing that
cool new
is
spinoffs from them.
kind of worrisome. Is in the first season there was really very little, if any, references to side character or to established characters already. The second season had many more established characters through Clone Wars and stuff like that. So we do have to kind of be a little bit concerned by that. Like, okay, are we getting is it going to become too commercial? Is it going to be all about, oh yeah, now let's watch all the Jedi's do stuff, and it become a little too common. Hopefully they stick a little bit more grounded like they have been and really doing a great job. And then you brought up Star Trek. Star Trek is killing it, guys. Discovery is so good right now. They just did a two-parter that was man, really, really well done. Yeah. And then we have more Star Trek on the horizon too, so it's all good for us. Very good. All right, we're moving into our top 5 childhood Christmas and Hanukkah gifts. We ended up going to Twitter this too and hitting up all of our podcast pals and stuff like that, see what they think. But we'll start with ours. Jonathan, let's start with you, man. What was your number 5 top childhood Christmas gift?
Well, I didn't quite put them in like number order, but I remember. So one of my favorite gifts I remember as a kid, because we lived in the '90s, right? Was
Yeah.
having a CD player, an actual like. I remember in the house we always had a CD player for the whole family and stuff like that. But I actually had my own little. I don't remember. I don't think it was like Walkman brand or Discman brand, but it was whatever the Walmart was selling that time. But you actually have your own headphones, and you felt like a cool kid because you could walk around and listen to whatever music you want to
Yeah.
listen to whenever. And it was just like revolutionary. It wasn't a cassette player like we used to have before that. So I remember being excited to have my own. I remember listening especially to Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody,
Nice.
on a CD in my little CD player.
Yeah. I want to say the first CD I had was the Space Jam soundtrack. It was so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember how
And
much
remember the Prince of Egypt? We used to play that one over and over
Oh
again.
yeah, actually, it's funny you bring that up. We were in Discord bullshitting, and then we were talking about like old animated movie songs we really liked, and I brought up some Prince of Persia ones that were really good. Remember how?
Prince of Egypt.
Thank you, Prince of Egypt. Yeah, you remember how easily everything skipped in those old CD players?
Oh yeah, you tap it somewhere and all of a sudden it
Yeah,
just
you
restarts.
can have just a wisp of a scratch on that disc, and it's gonna
Yeah.
skip like crazy.
But then there was that, oh, I'm gonna be a DIY and fix my CD. So there's all kinds of like tricks
Yeah.
and methods you hear from other kids how you get the scratches out
Peanut
and
butter
stuff.
and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, mine's gonna be TMNT action figures, the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. I had those and I had Power Ranger ones, but the Ninja Turtles were my favorite ones. And I remember setting them up against the Power Rangers often, and wrestlers. I used to have wrestling ones too, and I would set them up in like these big action scenes and just like make this episode of TMNT, you know, out in the back or whatever, and they were really cool. I'm looking back now, they did not have a lot of like features that you remember from like commercials, like what now we'll try to karate chop arms and like that. No, these were real basic. Like they just had movable arms and, you know, sockets and stuff like that. They were so cool. They had their own little weapons. Mikey, my favorite one, had like the little nunchucks and stuff like that you could put in their arms. It's all plastic. I remember how cheap the little rope chain thing in between the two sticks are and stuff. But man, I mean, hours of fun with just something so simple. And I can't imagine that being a thing that kids are into today. Like, just like, here's some action figures, play, like, create a world with action figures. Like, it doesn't seem like kids could do that nowadays, you know?
No, their attention span's too short nowadays. I don't think kids are as creative as they were when we were little because the internet, you just watch, you know, TikToks and YouTube videos and stuff, and it just puts the creative stuff in your brain versus you having to generate it yourself.
Yeah.
Pretty sad.
All right, what's your next one?
I think my next one's going to be Pokemon cards.
Nice.
I don't know if you remember, we were both way into Pokemon, so every birthday or holiday or whatever, if the parents or aunts and uncles or whatever couldn't figure out what to get us, it's just, hey, get me some booster packs or get me one of another starter pack or something like that.
And they always thought it was a waste of money, like, it's just paper cards, and they're right, but...
Very right.
Oh, man, it's so cool. You remember, like, in Miguel, too, whenever we'd go to flea markets, we would be, like, experts at what's a fake Pokemon card and what's a real one. Like, even the parents wouldn't really get it. And we're like, no, but see, there's a little bit of a fog here. Like, we wouldn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Or that star is not the kind of star it's supposed to have. Somebody edited it to try to make that.
Yeah. Oh, man, those are classics. Okay, so my number 4 will be the Simpsons soundtrack on CD, actually, is on CD. This was before, like, DVDs were out and you could buy, like, the set of Simpsons on DVD or anything like that. But I had the CD for it, and it had a bunch of the in-show music that like the Colts when Homer joined the Colts. There's all from like the first 10 seasons. And I would just play it over and over again and stuff like that and memorize all the songs and stuff. Because back then, the only time you watched Simpsons or anything really was like after schools while you're doing homework. Remember, we had the TV in the corner of the kitchen. Because you and me, with Squeaks and stuff like that, they all had scheduling problems. But you and me were brothers, so we had many of the same experiences in this stuff. But yeah, you'd come home and you'd watch Pokemon and Simpsons while you're supposed to be doing your homework right there in that kitchen table.
What's funny is to remember back. Yeah. It's funny to remember back in a time where it wasn't, you know, oh yeah, I'll watch this when I'm done with my homework or I'm done with the game or when I feel like it. It was, oh shoot, it's, you know, 5:00. That one show's going to be on. I need to sit in front of the TV and put it on the right channel so I could see it. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not going to see it.
Exactly.
Or set up the VCR to record it.
Or hope that I hope this rerun is one I haven't seen yet. And if it isn't, it's like, well, okay, that's fine. But, you know, I've seen this one a few times because it's the same reruns.
They're so spoiled these days.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let me stream something. Like, that wasn't a thing. But what's your next one?
All right. I think next is going to, for me, it's hard to put things in
you don't necessarily need to do them in number order.
Yeah, I'll probably have to go with the Tamagotchi. Okay. I remember when I was pretty young when I got my first one. I had to have been like maybe 7 or something like that. Just a regular traditional Tamagotchi, but then a little bit older at like 10 or something, just after Toy Story came out, or I think like a year after Toy Story came out, I got the Toy Story version of the Tamagotchi, which looked like Buzz Lightyear's little ship, the packaging of his.
Oh my god, I remember
character.
That, yeah.
But the character in the Tamagotchi was one of those little aliens, the little green ones from the Cloud Machine, and I loved that thing. That was fun. I mean, it's the kind of little toy game thing you could sneak to school and nobody really sees it. You can play with it in class, and if you just got to be careful because it makes beeps and noises. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I totally forgot about that one, but I can remember exactly what it looked like. That's a trip. Like, it's on my honorable mentions. It's Tamagotchis. Man, that's a good one. It's classic. There's a few things when I was looking at Tamagotchis. I found. You remember Yak Backs? It might be a little. Where you like say something into it and then say it back, and it was like. That's so stupid nowadays, but it was amazing back then.
And you could only do like 5 seconds, but we were like, oh, you can record your grocery list or a memo to remind yourself and stuff. And it's like, it's amazing how technology just evolves and integrates so quickly over the past 20 years.
You could not entertain a kid with that. They're like, yeah, my cell phone does that while I'm doing many other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, my next one, this is from the late 80s, is Teddy Ruxpin. This one I think is before your time. It's a teddy bear. It came with its own cassette tapes in the back, and you could like talk with Teddy Ruxpin and stuff like that. I remember his mouth was like very mechanical. You could hear all the gears move and everything. Like, and he would talk. And then he came with a cassette It was like a puppeted adventure that him and this like I want to say a big caterpillar went on, and I remember watching that a bunch whenever Grandma Martin would babysit. We'd be watching the Teddy Ruxpin tape, and I'd have my Teddy Ruxpin there with a little cassette to the back, and I think he broke like almost right away. But it's one of those gifts that's like you look back at and you're like, man, I wish I could remember more of it. I remember it fondly, but I don't remember all the details and stuff like that. It's just such a classic gift. It's the whole Teddy Ruxpin. It was a really good one.
I want to say that was in a movie or a TV show or something like that where they were trying to get it or something.
Yeah, it's a classic
I'm
gift.
thinking Always Sunny, but I know they had that little robot one.
Oh
in
my
an episode.
god, yeah. Oh, that robot's great. I like how they bring the robot back. Off topic, but they bring the robot back and they're like, well, no, he's not yours. I mean, you're a grown man. You don't need one. Here's a t-shirt. They give him a shirt later.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy's like, oh, so you stole my toy when I was a kid. Well, at least you're bringing it back. Thanks. And they're like, oh, no, you can't have it back. We're just showing you and saying, sorry, we stole it. Like, okay.
That's so good. Renewed for 4 more seasons. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, John, what's your next one?
All right, I think next is going to be the PS1.
Nice.
I don't remember what year we got it. I don't even remember actually if it was a Christmas gift. It might have been a birthday gift. But I remember playing after the N64, of course. That was like a huge system for us. But then the PS1, especially I remember the Spider-Man game we got for it, I think was one of the first ones. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That Spider-Man game was good. I loved collecting all the skins and stuff like that on that game. Really good. What are the PS... I mean, we had Spyro on there. What other PS1 games did we have?
I think... I'm pretty sure we had one of the Tony Hawks. I know we had Tony Hawk for the N64 as well, but... Was it Crazy Taxi? Was that on PS1?
No, that's Dreamcast. That was good, though. That's Dreamcast, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember, but...
So many good ones. Yeah. All right, my next one is the Game Boy Color Yellow. Well, or Pokemon Yellow. It had like the Pokemon Edition Game Boy Color.
I remember you having that, yeah.
Yeah, this was at a time. This one came from Mom and Dad, not Santa. So I knew about it beforehand, and then she actually let me play it for a bit before she wrapped it. And oh man, I would think I burnt up a couple AA before she even wrapped it, and then I could not wait to open that up again and dig into it. I had many hard days at school because I played throughout the night. Playing Pokemon Yellow, and what a classic game. I had Pokemon Blue before that, but something about Pokemon Yellow was just so good. I think, of course, it's gotta be Pikachu following you around, right? It just took up so much of my time, and it was really a great game. And that particular Game Boy I have still on the shelf over there. It had, if you guys remember, yellow on the front, blue on the back, and Pikachu in the corner, and was just like this collector's edition version. And I had to have that one. So much fun and so many AA batteries. Really, really good game. Yeah. What's your next one, John?
So it's funny you mentioned that because my next one isn't the actual Game Boy itself, but it was Pokemon Blue. The one right before that. Because I don't think I ever played Yellow. You had that. I didn't have it, but I went from Blue to Gold, which Gold was also good, but I like the original Pokemon the best. The just, what was it, 165 or something like that. So yeah, Pokemon Blue. I think it was one of my favorite. I think of the Pokemon games too, I played that the most versus all the other ones.
I remember us, getting the cord out and having the old Game Boys next to each other and trading Pokemon back and forth. And then you remember catching, like, what was it, No Number or No Name or something like that?
Yeah.
Because you could multiply the rare candies. I think we did that. And that was the things like...
Wasn't that a Ditto trick?
No, it was something... I think you could multiply Ditto, but you, like, traded... He looked... Actually, I think he maybe looked like Ditto or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But you had to go down in the water and catch him. Who remembers? Yeah. But it was one of those things that was like... It was almost like Recess Legend. Yeah. Like, hey, this is what you do, and you would, like, tell your friends and your cousins about it and stuff, and everybody would exchange.
Revolutionary.
Oh, man, the hours. Yeah, it was huge. All right, my last one, and then we'll go into... Was that your last one, or was that...
yeah, that was my last one.
That was your last one, okay. My last one is going to be the N64 with Diddy Kong Racing. This has to be the system that got me addicted to gaming. Like, before this, I played video games. After this, I was a gamer.
Yeah.
I know we tried 100% the game. A lot of people don't know that you can go to space in that game. You go to space, you remember there's that chicken and stuff like that. You had to, like, unlock the billboards. I know Miguel and I were working on that a lot. Man, that game, we put some hours in. The pig, you remember you had to unlock the pig, and then you had to do it again to unlock the pig again, and we put out...
I remember us doing this stuff, and I remember playing the game with you guys, but I remember not understanding how you get to these like secret levels and stuff like that because you're
Yeah.
5 years older. So I was, just a wee little turd, but there's so much I don't remember. But especially like the Star Fox on the N64 as well. I think that was my favorite.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah. Wow, I'm surprised that was your favorite one, but that's really good. Played the heck out of that. I remember, so back then when you wanted cheat codes, or not even like cheat codes, but just how you do things. Because remember, you had to like kick the frog into this pond to end up opening up one of the zones. So to do this, you had to go to magazines to find the answers. It wasn't on a website. And it wasn't like we were going to buy video game magazines. Are you crazy? It's expensive. Why would you do that? So when we'd go to the store, the parents would go shopping. We'd go to the magazine aisle and read what we could. Maybe tear out the part you need and put it in your pocket. But, pack and save. I remember exactly where it was at, pack and save. And then, yeah, you'd find out like, oh, we have to kick that frog and stuff like that. And then you quickly try to remember that, go home and replicate it. Again, kids nowadays with the internet, they're just so spoiled. They can just Google it and figure out what they got to do.
Yeah.
But that's how we had to do it back then. Any other memorable or honorable mentions or anything like that, John?
No, not that I could think of. It took me a while to remember those 5.
Yeah. I remember we got the NES, but I think you were real young at that point when we got the NES. Aunt Sarah actually gave it to us, and we went to a holiday Christmas party, and we came home, and then she put it in the back of our vehicle with it from Santa, and then eventually the parents called around to figure out who gave us a NES. It was Aunt Sarah. She gave it to us. And then we played Mario Brothers on that thing, Super Mario Brothers. The parents actually got big into Super Mario Brothers at the time. And then I remember very well playing with David, our cousin David, and Miguel would be in front of us. And back then, I was the pain in the butt older brother. So we'd have Miguel in the front with a controller not plugged in, thinking he was playing, while me and David were in the back switching off between Luigi and Mario back and forth. And man, that blew our minds because at the time it was like, well, who gave us an NES? It was the hot ticket at the time,
Yeah.
And so for us to have that, I think we got it. I mean, it came out in '85. I think we got it in like '89. So it had been out for a bit, but it was still like, holy cow, an NES. Man, that was epic too. But that's an honorable mention. And shout out to Aunt Sarah for that gift. That was really cool. All right, so we went on to the social medias and we asked our Twitter, our podcast pals and Twitter pals and stuff like that, some of their favorites. We have FGC Podcast said their favorite was PlayStation 1 with Crash Bandicoot. I'm currently playing through Crash Bandicoot, and yeah, those are not easy. Have you ever played any Crashes?
No, I've tried them. I think the only amount I played them was when they used to have the little displays or demos at GameStop, and I played it enough to realize, I don't really care for it. So it's just not my cup of tea. I like Spyro, and that's what I was hoping it was going to be like, but it didn't really feel like the same kind of game.
Yeah, Spyro is a little more open world and stuff like that. It's a good one. That's the one I played the most, but yeah. Kyle of Monumentus Kyle played, he liked the N64 with GoldenEye and with Ocarina of Time. I mean, those are the most like legendary N64 titles ever. Everybody remembers GoldenEye. I don't know if you remember, John. Remember when we used to have to do split screen on one screen, like 4-way split screen, trying to do multiplayer shooters like that?
And you're sitting like 4 inches from the screen so you can try to see.
Yeah, and like, of course, don't look at my screen. Don't look at my screen. Like, how could you not?
Elbowing each other.
We each have 9 inches of game screen to look at. Of course, you're going to see the other person's screen.
Yeah.
Scott, who moderates our Discord for us, thank you for that, Scott. He also says GoldenEye and the N64, of course, just classic. We have Talkin' Shiz podcast said Ecto 1 and the original Ghostbusters. Remember Ecto 1? It's the old ambulance that they use.
Oh, yeah.
It was the toy version of that.
Okay.
And then it had all kinds of the little props up on top and stuff like that in the original Ghostbusters. And then they also said that they liked the TMT party van. Do you remember the party van? Like the bright yellow van that had the Ninja Turtles all over it and stuff like that?
I don't remember any of that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think you're too young, man. You're about 5 years too young.
Yep.
We had So Wizard podcast said the Cobra Terror Dome. The box art for this thing's insane. So what it was it looked like a stadium, but it was like where the G.I. Joes would attack Cobra. And the box art had like so many different Cobra and G.I. Joe members fighting, and it looked like a scene from the actual show. Just epic thing. And then of course the Terror Dome itself was like the light blues and grays of the actual show. So a really good pick there. We have I Had to Say It podcast said the NES with the Legend of Zelda. Do you remember on the NES, the Legend of Zelda's cartridges were like that bright gold?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is the first one. It had bright gold cartridge for the NES. I wish I was good enough back then to play this game, but I was too young to really be good at it. But man, classic. Pop Cannon says the TMNT sewer hockey. I looked this up. What this was a foosball table where you had like a stationary hockey players that were all Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you were able to play basically foosball with hockey over this thing. It was really cool. Again, the box art back in the 80s and 90s, they knew how to do it. It looked really cool. It actually had like Mikey playing on one side and stuff like that. It was really neat. Crossover Collision said a T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Man, Jurassic Park, I couldn't tell you how many times we watched that back in the day. Yep. They had the big T-Rexes, and they had the ones that like actually had roars from the show. That's what it looked like he was talking about. That's a good one. Do we have any of those when we were growing up?
We had all kinds of toys and like action figures and stuff, but I don't know about the like sound activated or whatever the.
As much as we watched Jurassic Park, you'd think we'd had a bunch of Jurassic Park toys, but I don't remember any.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, but we watched the hell out of that show, out of that movie. Okay, the next one is from We the Listeners podcast, said Big Megazord. Now, here's the thing. I didn't have a Megazord, but I was jealous of hell as anybody who had him, because I remember we'd be in church and the kids in front of us, I remember very well, had like all the different pieces. They would come together to make the Megazord. And of course, while I should be paying attention, I'm sitting there watching them play the toys and thinking I should have that. It's classic Megazords. They're actually making a comeback. You've seen a lot of these Megazords being made now. That's a good one. A few more here. We have Potato Lady Podcast, which, by the way, great name for a podcast, Potato Lady. Her pick was the Easy Bake Oven. I never had an Easy Bake Oven, but I remember wanting one because they I don't know how, but they would pull out like full-on muffins out of those things. Like, I don't think an Easy Bake Oven can actually do that, but you'd pull out bakery-sized muffins out of those. Jeff Feitner said the Honda ATC 70. This is a three-wheeler, Jonathan.
Huh.
Man, I know, that's my reaction. It's like, oh, I remember three-wheelers. You try not to flip them.
Yeah.
Hell, we'd spend so much time. That's one of those things where I remember we'd have the older cousins, Jeffrey and Matthew. They would be like driving them and we get to ride on them with them. Yeah. And of course, they would like always try to put it on two wheels. And the parents would like, don't do that, because they're super dangerous.
Yeah.
We might have been lucky enough to have a couple three-wheelers in our access back in the day. That's a classic one there. We have Book of Lies. They said Book of Lies podcast. That's really good. They're good buddies of the podcast, guys. Check them out. Pac-Man and Asteroid games back in the day. Pac-Man's great. If you could memorize Pac-Man, you're set. That was hard to do, but I know of people who did. We had I used to watch this podcast, said the Firefox remote control Jeep. Classic RC car. Everybody loves the RC cars. Capes on the Couch podcast. They said that their favorite was the original Game Boy. 4 AA batteries, about 3 hours of play. I played a lot of time.
5 pounds, big old heavy brick.
Yeah. You could take out robbers if you need to. If you see them running down the street, just throw your Game Boy at them. I think my favorite old game on that was of course, Pokemon Blue. But they had, remember the Tiny Toons game? You remember the Tiny Toons game on that?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
It had a lot of classic games like that.
I also remember, I don't know if it was a game. I think it was like one of those accessory games or whatever. It wasn't like a full game. Was the camera that you could put into your Game Boy.
Whoa, and it had a printer.
Yeah, it had a printer, yeah. So you could take pictures of stuff, you could type text on it and stuff like that, and it would print it out. It was really poor quality picture and printing, but back then it was like, oh my god, I'm my own like production studio over here. I could totally print whatever I want. Like, you felt really cool. I remember I was showing somebody when I was like 10 years old or whatever, and it was a police officer that was at our school for something, and he was like, oh, so you'd be able to like take a picture of a license plate and print it out, huh? And I was like, I could be a private investigator with this thing. I remember thinking that, like, I could totally be like using that to tail people or something. That's funny.
Man, now I'm imagining you out in the parking lot, like taking pictures. I remember that. That was like the first selfies, really. I mean, that is great. Big old blue thing that would hang out the top of it too.
Yeah.
Lastly, we have Derek, who said his favorite was his Nintendo DS with Mario Kart and Pokemon Diamond. Nintendo DS classic, got a lot of hours on that machine as well. That's a really good one. Thank you guys for participating. We have a few more too. We'll put them up through it. We've been retweeting them and stuff like that on the social medias. You guys check them out. But yeah, so many really great gifts, and it's just kind of fun to remember our childhood throughout the gifts. I know it's about so much more about being with family and stuff, but it's kind of good to remember the childhood fun that we had. But yeah, but I think that's about it. Do you have anything else for today?
I'm good.
That's it. All right, guys. We hope you have a wonderful holiday with your family. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys next week. We're gonna be going over the best of 2020 and what to expect in 2021. See you guys then.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on the Geek Freaks podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Geek Freaks Pod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us. We have our Patreon and a store. All those links are in the description. Thank you so much for joining us.